While many of these efforts are taking place at the international level, they intimately involve powerful American federal agencies, American commercial banks, and the Federal Reserve. Late last month, a bipartisan group of U.S. senators introduced the Financial Technology Protection Act, which would, quote, create a working group tasked with studying how terrorists or other criminals might use cryptocurrencies and other financial technologies and create proposals for Congress and regulatory agencies aimed at countering these uses, end quote. This working group would be composed of representatives of the U.S. Treasury Department, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN, the IRS, the Office of Foreign Asset Control, the FBI, the Drug Enforcement Agency, the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, the Department of State, and the CIA.
BlackRock and many different three-letter agencies that Whitney Webb did mention in this intro, including the CIA and the IRS, are all working together on this act. Now, I've done some research on this act, and Whitney Webb is going to dive deeper into exactly what they are proposing to do, but once again, this is something that should be concerning to a lot of you guys. Now, you can see all of the different three-letter government federal agencies that are listed here that are all part of this act. Now, and this does also include a number of different individuals appointed under the Secretary for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence to represent, financial institutions, blockchain intelligence companies, and financial technology companies. And what I found out after going through these individuals that are helping with this is, in the crypto space, there are even people that are under the scenes, pretending like they are your friend, saying they want decentralization, but then reporting to the government on how they can start tracking all of your transactions and link everything to you with a digital ID. So, in summary, we most definitely do have snakes in the grass, which I am going to work on exposing in this video a little bit later on down the road. But first, there is a lot that Whitney Webb is talking about in this particular speech that I think a lot of us need to bring a lot more attention to. We need to expose BlackRock. We need to expose these federal agencies. There's a lot of stuff they're doing that they should not be doing. So I need you guys to hit that like button and subscribe to show support to this channel so more people see this. And let's get into what Whitney Webb has to say.
Bitcoiners should pay close attention to these developments, as the DOJ in particular has attempted to paint Bitcoin as the payment of choice for well-known terror groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda, signaling that this working group proposed by this bill will likely seek to specifically target Bitcoin. Adding to this concern is the fact that a slew of recent mainstream media reports, which cite Treasury and FinCEN officials, DOJ officials, and CIA analysts, have claimed that, quote, terrorists are turning to Bitcoin and they're learning fast. That Bitcoin is the, quote, new frontier in terror financing. And that, quote, Bitcoin is helping terrorists secretly fund their deadly attacks. Even the prominent military think tank RAND Corporation has argued that Bitcoin and the dark web are the newest terrorist threat. Many of these entities, particularly the U.S. Department of Justice, are also currently helping draft the UN's new cybercrime treaty, showing that there is currently a very global effort to stomp out cybercrime and alleged funding sources for cybercriminals. However, much like the words terror and terrorist after 9/11, the terms cybercrime and cybercriminals are often very vaguely defined by these same authorities. Perhaps unsurprisingly, many of the groups looking to allegedly combat cybercrime in the US and beyond, including the Department of Justice and the FBI, are part of an international public-private partnership housed within the World Economic Forum that is seeking to define these terms in unsettling ways. Not only that, but this group and its partner organizations are also seeking policy objectives that, if widely implemented, would treat anonymous cryptocurrency transactions, and specifically Bitcoin transactions involving mixers and related privacy tools, as criminal. They also, without evidence, assert that there is a direct link between an increase in the value of cryptocurrencies, specifically Bitcoin, and an increase in cybercriminal activity. This public-private partnership, the WEF Partnership Against Cybercrime, or WEFPAC, is run by a former intelligence named Tal Goldstein, whose military intelligence career rather, was marked by his efforts to have intelligence agencies essentially fuse with private technology companies in his native Israel. Today, WEFPAC's members not only include the FBI, the Department of Justice, the U.S. Secret Service, and intelligence agencies of Israel and Britain, they also include massive too-big-to-fail banks like Bank of America and Santander, as well as massive tech companies like Amazon and Microsoft. PayPal is also there, so is the nonprofit that manages the SWIFT payment system. In recent reports, WEFPAC has alleged that there is a connection between the use of cryptocurrencies as well as privacy-enhancing tools such as mixers and the incidence of cybercrime. They argue that, quote, cybercriminals abuse encryption, cryptocurrencies, anonymity services, and other technologies, but failed to note that their use is hardly exclusive to criminals.
Now, I need to highlight a very specific part of this bill because it does provide a lot of context to what Whitney Webb is saying here and how these bad actors generally will use very open-ended descriptions of specific things in order to give themselves a lot of power over the financial industry and, of course, digital assets in this particular case. Now, one particular part of this Congress House bill that did pass in 2024, by the way, in July, is Section 3 right here, which is preventing rogue and foreign actors from evading sanctions. Now, we can see right here that they are developing a strategy on how the United States will mitigate and prevent the illicit use of digital assets and other related emerging technologies. So they're already developing a complete strategy in order to basically monitor and control digital assets like Bitcoin, XRP, or many others. And this is concerning because the entire reason that these digital assets were created to begin with is because we wanted something, a new monetary system that's separate from the government. But the government understands this, and they understand that, Bitcoin poses a massive threat to the United States of America, and of course, also the rest of the countries that they control. And so they need to find a way to control it. And so by saying things like they're going to mitigate and prevent the illicit use of digital assets and other related technologies is concerning, right? And there's many members of Congress that have said on multiple different occasions that they think that Bitcoin is good for nothing. It's just used for money laundering and drug trade, and that's the only type of people that use this cryptocurrency. And so if their point of view is that that's what everybody is doing with this crypto asset, do we really want these people to be the ones who are regulating it? Most people that I know who are in cryptocurrency are the farthest thing from a criminal. In fact, they are hardworking people that are so sick of the Federal Reserve printing trillions of dollars and completely devaluing their currency, and they just want to be involved in a crypto asset or a monetary system that frankly cannot be manipulated. Right. And so with that being said, Bitcoin supply is limited. XRP supply is limited. You know exactly what you're getting into when you buy it. And you don't need to worry about some federal agency printing trillions of whatever crypto asset completely nuking the value. And so with that being said, this is threatening to the government because their number one hidden taxation is indeed money printing. So if you're no longer holding and using the currency that they want you to use, if they print the US dollar, it's not going to have the effect that they want because people are no longer transacting in it. And we're starting to see is countries all across the world are starting to use Bitcoin instead of their native currencies because they're sick of the United States being the central bank of the entire world who is issuing all of their currency. They want to have their own say on how much currency is issued and how they can manage their economies and don't want to be left holding the bag if the United States decides to print trillions of dollars and completely tank their economy. So with that in mind, yeah, it's a giant power grab, and we definitely should be just a little bit more concerned and privy to what they are trying to do here. But I digress. Whitney Webb does have some more important information regarding this, so let's get back to what she's saying.
Though they refrain from naming any currency specifically, the WEF has stated elsewhere on its website that, quote, governments don't like the fact that Bitcoin users are anonymous, and they have concerns over its use for criminal activity and money laundering, adding that their worries aren't unfounded. It's important to point out that WEFPAC doesn't see cybercriminals just as those who may engage in hacks or financially motivated acts like ransomware attacks. To WEFPAC, cybercriminals also include those who use technologies to uphold terrorism and spread disinformation to destabilize governments and democracies. From that, it seems that WEFPAC's inclusion of disinformation as a type of cybercrime betrays an intention to develop policies that, under the guise of combating cybercrime, will instead promote increased online censorship, particularly of independent media. In discussing solutions, WEFPAC calls for the global targeting of infrastructures and assets deemed to facilitate cybercrime, including those which enable cybercriminal revenue streams, which, as we will see shortly, refers to infrastructure that allows for more private cryptocurrency transactions and enables, quote, the promotion of illegal sites and the hosting of criminal content. In another section, the group discusses seizing the websites of cybercriminals as an attractive possibility. Given that WEFPAC and its members, like the FBI, view disinformation as a form of cybercrime, this could potentially see independent media websites and the infrastructure that allows them to operate and finance their work, like video sharing and payment platforms that do not censor, emerge as targets. Earlier this month, the FBI, in coordination with the National Police of Ukraine, did just this, seizing 9 crypto exchanges, the majority of which had Bitcoin or BTC in the domain name. Their crime? Offering, quote, anonymous cryptocurrency exchange services to website visitors. WEFPAC further argues that, quote, in order to reduce the global impact of cybercrime and to systematically restrain cybercriminals, cybercrime must be confronted at its source by raising the cost of conducting cybercrimes, cutting the activity's profitability, and deterring criminals by increasing the direct risk they face. It then argues, unsurprisingly, that because the cybercrime threat is global in scope, its solution must also be a globally coordinated effort. They say that the main way to achieve this involves, quote, harnessing the private sector to work side by side with law enforcement officials. Shockingly, WEFPAC calls for this cooperation to take place even if it is not, quote, always aligned with existing legislative and operational frameworks. In other words, they are saying this cooperation should be allowed to take place even if it is illegal. So how exactly do the members of WEFPAC plan on confronting cybercrime at its source? While they are tight-lipped on exact measures, another group they work closely with and that has considerable overlap with WEFPAC has some ideas. The Financial Services Information Sharing and Analysis Center, or FS-ISAC, officially exists to, quote, help ensure the resilience and continuity of the global financial services infrastructure and individual firms against acts that could significantly impact the sector's ability to provide services critical to the orderly function of the global economy. In other words, FS-ISAC allows the private financial services industry to decide on and coordinate sector-wide responses regarding how financial services are provided during and after a given crisis, including a cyber attack or sector-wide concern over cybercrime. FS-ISAC was tellingly created in 1999, the same year that Glass-Steagall was repealed. FS-ISAC, their members include the biggest firms on Wall Street. Citigroup, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Morgan Stanley are among its members. And much of their leadership contributes to, works for, or chairs committees and initiatives of the World Economic Forum, including those focused on cybercrime and ransomware. In 2021, FS-ISAC's Global Intelligence Office released several predictions for 2021 and beyond. Most of these predictions express concern about a coming cyber calamity, though one prediction in particular stands out, that, quote, economic drivers towards cybercrime will increase. FSISAC claims that the current economic situation created in the wake of COVID-related lockdowns will, quote, make cybercrime an ever more attractive alternative, stating immediately afterwards that, quote, dramatic increases in cryptocurrency valuation will drive threat actors to conduct campaigns capitalizing on this market.
And so I hope it's abundantly clear to all of you watching that a lot of these agencies and the private sector combined are really not in our best interest to be working alongside. In fact, most of these people, they'll use whatever excuse they can in the book in order to get more power over our lives. And it's time that we really start acting against this and ensuring that moving forward, we do have the freedoms that cryptocurrency is trying to give us. Because if we don't talk about this, if we don't raise awareness, if we don't educate people about these bills, which I know most of you disagree with, and frankly, I believe most Americans, if they really understood what they were about, would also disagree with. The issue with this is they keep passing, they keep coming through, and we keep giving the government more and more power over our lives in a way that's not in our best interest. So I want to invite all of you guys to join my Discord community so that you could be part of our core community where we have discussions about cryptocurrency, trading, just general insights on the market, news, that type of stuff. Because yeah, we frankly need to stick together and we need to know when to fight and what to fight. So join that Discord. It's going to be down in the description as well as somewhere up here. Hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy my content for more in the future. And I'll see you guys all very soon. Peace out.